This is Cashflow Ninja, episode 190 with Matt Miller.
Welcome to the Cashflow Ninja, the podcast empowering and inspiring people to discover how to generate their own income and manage, grow, and protect their own wealth in the new economy. Now, here is your host, MC Laubscher.
Hello Cashflow Ninjas, MC Laubscher here, and welcome to another episode of the Cashflow Ninja. I have a great show for you today, and in today's show we're going to look at how to create passive income streams from vending machines. My guest in this episode is Matt Miller. Matt spent the first 9 years of his career as an Air Force pilot before entering the corporate world to work at both Abbott Laboratories and Valassis. While a top performer for both companies, his long-term desire was to start a business and be his own boss. A good friend one day mentioned the gumball machines he and his young daughters owned, and that conversation began a 10-year business quest that resulted in the creation and subsequent growth of School Spirit Vending. Over the years, Matt's diligent effort and entrepreneurial expertise has brought School Spirit Vending to the cutting edge of both the vending and school fundraising industries by combining these two ventures into one. Today, School Spirit Vending's hassle-free fundraising program is helping schools across the country raise money in its own unique way. In addition to the basic in and outs of running School Spirit Vending, Matt is devoted to sharing his expertise with others through many different venues, including podcast and public speaking. Matt seeks to enable other entrepreneurs to chase their dreams as well. I've also created a Cashflow Ninja investment group where I share opportunities that I'm investing in with my fellow investors. If you're interested in joining this group, please email me at info@cashflowninja.com and we will continue the conversation to see if you're a good fit for our group. Please share your feedback and thoughts on today's interview. You can let me know your thoughts on Twitter by tweeting me at MC Laubscher or by email at info@cashflowninja.com. And please remember to join our mailing list by signing up at cashflowninja.com or texting Cashflow Ninja to 44222. To ensure that you never miss one of our episodes, you can download our free interactive smartphone apps on the Apple and Google Play app stores. You can support the show by becoming a patron on Patreon for $10 a month, and when you do become a patron, you get access to our private Facebook page where previous guests connect with listeners, and you get to access a community of people that are on the same journey as you are, where you can network, share information and ideas, and possibly find a partner for your next business and deal. When you do become a patron, I will also send you a Cashflow Ninja t-shirt. You can become a patron at cashflowninja.com/support. My friend Dave Zook says you can be conventional or you can be wealthy, but you need to pick one. At The Real Asset Investor, Dave and his company create value for investors looking for higher yield returns from real estate ventures domestically and internationally. To learn more about the exciting investment opportunities The Real Asset Investor offers, such as the syndication opportunity at Mahogany Bay Village in Belize, or investment opportunities in the multifamily space in the U.S., visit cashflowninja.com/real asset investor. Gelt Inc. is a multifamily syndicator which has acquired over 6,700 apartment units valued at over $1 billion through a private equity syndication model. Gelt provides its investors with significant cash-on-cash returns while maintaining and enhancing equity invested for the long term. You can reach out to Josh Satin at josh@geltinc.com to learn more. Have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad? Are you interested in real estate investing and don't know where to start and how to get the results you want? For valuable information to get you started, visit JoinOps Properties at joinopsproperties.com. If you want to create an income stream of 8% on your cash or money in your self-directed IRAs within 90 days in real estate without finding the property, fixing it up, finding a tenant, and all the other management headaches, you have to watch the private lending presentation at cashflowninja.com/ private lending. The wealthiest investors on the planet know how to capture their wealth and leverage it to perpetually grow it. If you're interested in learning the premier strategies of the wealthiest individuals and families on the planet, you can access your free webinar at cashflowninja.com/be the bank. Matt, welcome to the show.
Hey, MC, thanks for having me on, man. This is awesome.
Oh, very excited to have you on. Can you please share a little bit about your background and journey with my listeners?
So I was an Air Force pilot for 9 years, got out of the service and jumped into the corporate world where I worked in the hospital medical industry for about a year and a half and then spent a decade working as an advertising executive in the direct mail world. Along the way, I got a little bit frustrated with the corporate world. The rules were always changing and they never seemed to be in my favor. And the stockholders were always the priority, not the employees. And so there were some corporate decisions that were made along the way that really impacted my family negatively. Myself into a place where I had no option but to figure something else out to do on the side. And so initially, I was on Amazon years ago before selling on Amazon was cool. And along the way, a good buddy of mine mentioned the fact that he and his young daughters had bought some gumball machines. And it was a way for them to do some business together and spend time together and learn and make a little bit of money. And I remembered that conversation and thought, well, shoot, what the heck? Maybe I could do the same thing. And so I bought a used candy and gumball machine, and slowly but surely, through reading and through a couple of Yahoo groups and the School of Hard Knocks, figured out how to start and run a vending business on the side of my full-time career. And that grew in local businesses for several years, and then we transitioned into schools, doing fundraising in schools back in 07 and 08 after the market crashed. And here we are today. Our company, School Spirit Vending, has been around for a decade. We're a franchise and have franchisees in most of the United States and are looking to potentially expand into Canada in the next few months. And things have grown pretty quickly, and it's pretty crazy to look back on what all's transpired in the last 10 years or so.
What a fantastic story, and there's so many lessons out of it too, with starting small and doing it on the side, and now it's grown into this business, and now you're just and helping other people doing the same through your franchisee program and growing. So congratulations! It's really, really exciting stuff. Now, Matt, let's talk about the vending machine business. Can you share a little bit how this model works? And give a little bit more information from where the machines are located, some of the market research that you guys do, to just over the overall operations of this vending machine business.
Well, initially, my equipment was just basic vending equipment in local restaurants and nail salons and that type of thing, candy, gumballs, toys, stickers, temporary tattoos. When we started School Spirit Vending and started working with schools, we transitioned pretty much exclusively to selling stickers, and we do custom stickers for our schools with their mascot and their colors. We place a vending machine in the school at no cost to them. It ends up being a hassle-free fundraiser for the school and a relatively passive income stream for our franchisees, and ultimately a win-win for everybody.
Very, very interesting. And now the franchisees, is this per state, per town? Are you guys in all 50 states? Share a little bit about your setup.
We're in about 43 states currently. Each franchisee has a protected territory of up to 200 schools per territory. And in that area, they're allowed to work and promote and work with those schools specifically. So that's kind of how the territory is divided up. We anticipate as we continue to grow, that we'll be in all 50 states here within the next year or so. We just got our first franchisees started in Hawaii and Alaska here within the last 6 months, and they're thriving in their areas already, and just really excited about where things are going. There's a lot of opportunity, a lot of schools in need of money and who are lacking volunteers to help raise that money. And so our program steps in and fills that niche in a big way.
Doing well by doing good. It's a win-win for everybody around, too, which is fantastic. Now, the vending machine business, do you guys obviously have suppliers for the machines? Let's talk about how much does it cost to operate these machines, and tell us a little bit more about the operation. So this is being stocked by the franchisee and placed in there. Can you share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the franchisees purchase their equipment directly from our supplier that I've had a relationship with for 12, 13 years. We don't make any money on the equipment itself. We make all of our money through royalties and franchise fees and the actual sale of stickers, because that's where we all make our money. So that's where our focus is. The franchisees own and operate the equipment. Of course, they purchase whatever inventory they want and need for their machines that they have on location. And then we have a recommended servicing schedule and way that they go about doing, all the things around that. And we teach them all that on the front end based on, over a decade of experience and what we've seen in schools all across the country already.
Right. Now let's talk about the franchising for a second, because obviously this is something that you've learned and have a very good understanding and grasp of. Can you talk about how, the process when you guys started this franchise? What were some of the most important things that you guys have to have had in place? What were some of the team members that you brought in, and what were some of the biggest lessons that you've learned?
MC, I had no plans to franchise what we were doing whatsoever. The first 7.5 years, we had a distributorship model and a licensing agreement with people around the country. And about 3.5 years ago, I hired a coach for the first time, a guy by the name of Aaron Walker. Aaron's been in business for 35 years, multi-millionaire. Has been there and done that in business. And as he and I got to working together, he helped me see things from a different perspective. And he challenged me because of all the opportunity that there was out there that we hadn't yet gone after. And so I started doing some research on how best to grow the business and that type of thing, and consulted my attorney along the way to get their thoughts on some questions that I had. And the attorney came back to me after a bit and he said, Matt, in doing some more research, you really need to be a franchise, because a lot of the parts of the country where you're not in business currently, you need to be a franchise to do business the way you are. In the Northeast, the Midwest, and out West predominantly. So I kind of swallowed hard. We didn't have a strategic reserve at the time for anything even remotely close to that. But we figured out how to get a hold of the money and went about starting to put it together. One of the biggest things that we learned along the way, and one of the biggest benefits to what we had been doing previously, MC, is because I was an Air Force pilot formerly, and as a pilot we live by checklists. I had gotten accustomed to kind of putting checklists or systems in place to do a lot of what we did already. And that's really when somebody starts a franchise, and then when people buy into a franchise, they're doing it because it's a business in a box. It's already been figured out. The systems and processes are already in place. It's already proven effective and successful and profitable. And then it's just a matter of teaching those new franchisees those systems and processes. So thankfully, even though I didn't know it at the time, I was doing a lot of what needed to be done in order for us to easily transition to being a franchise. It also helped that we had been doing business for 7.5 years. We had a track record. We had a group of people that were already wildly profitable at what we were doing. So those two things were in place before I really realized that that was the direction we were going to go in. Then all I needed to do is sit down with the attorney and work through all the different details that are expected of a franchise, get the documentation and the legal done, and go from there. Initially, it was just me. As far as the organization itself, we've since we've got a part-time CFO. We've got a guy who heads up a lot of our franchise sales. We've got a guy who heads up a lot of our training and our mentorship program, which is very, very important to our success and the success of our franchisees. And then I've got several assistants that help out with a variety of things as well, on top of kind of those more specific roles. We're a decentralized team. Folks are kind of spread all over the country because our franchisees are spread all over the country. And we've just learned how to do business without all of us being together in one office like many companies are. It's allowed us to bring in talent that best fits what we're trying to do. And then I've just had to learn how to effectively manage and lead a group of people who aren't here, clocking in essentially every day.
No, very, very, very interesting. And what I like about this too is that you designed the systems and processes that basically support your life. And, no, you don't lead a life that's just there supporting your business, right? You're working, this is something that is designed around a lifestyle. Can you just speak about that approach, and what were some of the things that you implemented to effectively execute this?
I read Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, probably 13 or 14 years ago, read Cash Flow Quadrant as well. In fact, even have his game, Cash Flow, that our family has played together for years. And I bought into Kiyosaki's whole idea of passive income and making money while you sleep. Now, my challenge was when I got started, we were in such a bad spot financially. I couldn't even afford to own my own house, let alone rental properties and all that like Kiyosaki talks about. But vending machines essentially accomplished the exact same things for me. And because the barriers to entry as far as cost were so much lower, I was able to drive my passive income that way. And of course, now teach others how to do the same. But that being said, I put all this together not just to make money, because I had found a bunch of other ways to make money. I put it together because I really believed in that whole idea of success being control of time and money. And with a family with 3 kids, being very active in my church, wanting to be involved missionally around the world and otherwise, and not believing that spending the best hours, days, weeks, and years of our lives just keeping a roof over our table or over our heads and food on the table was what we were really put here for. I worked really, really hard to put things in place so that as we scaled, the amount of time necessary to support the team really didn't change. So as an example today, there's a lot of day-to-day I do, and my team does as well. But there are very specific things that I do in support of the team throughout the month that whether we've got 100 franchisees or 300 franchisees doesn't change. So the amount of work that I put in that regard remains the same. We do masterminds each month regionally for the different regions around the country. I'm the one that lead those masterminds. We do webinars once a month to teach on a topic for an hour and to oftentimes bring outside experts in to help teach and educate on those topics. I lead those. I do 2 podcasts internally for our team every week that are private, that nobody else has access to. Talk about ultimate niche. They're for 104 families. And that is what we have done to develop community and relationships and to share success stories and best practices and all that along the way. I produce both of those shows. Other than that, a lot of my time is spent getting to know prospective franchisees and taking them through the back half of the franchise sales process if they get to that point, because ultimately it's about finding the right people to be part of our team, not just to find somebody that's got a pulse. And so even though I'm not involved in the first half of that, anybody who gets to that point, then I end up taking them under my wing, getting to know them, developing a relationship that will last for years to come if we end up working together. And in my opinion, is one of the most important things that I do in that regard.
Absolutely. And, you are spending a lot of time developing the team and the people in your organization. And by developing and investing in the growth and the personal growth of your people and your franchisees, that spurs and grows the business.
Correct.
You're listening to Matt Miller on the Cashflow Ninja podcast. We will be right back after a word from our sponsor.
Are you on track to achieve your financial goals? Income-producing real estate is the most historically proven way to accumulate wealth and has created more financial freedom than any other means. Norada Real Estate provides everything you need to invest in the best turnkey cash flow rental properties. Our simple, proven system will help you create real wealth and passive monthly income. Get your free strategy session with our knowledgeable investment counselors at noradarealestate.com. That's NORADA realestate.com.
You're listening to Matt Miller on the Cashflow Ninja podcast, and now back to our interview. No, very, very powerful stuff. Can you talk about from the franchisee's point of view, if somebody comes in now, what does it look like for them? Because some of my listeners might be listening saying, this might be interesting. What does a day in a life of a franchisee look like? They can start this part-time. Obviously, there's vending machines that they're placing at the schools. What other support do they need and other resources to have a successful business?
Well, they literally just have to follow the cookie cutter example that we've put in place and had 10 years experience doing. Our business is unique in the fact that most people do this as a side hustle on top of their corporate careers. Some over time decide to go into it full time and walk away from their career. But a majority of our team still today is doing other things and just has this done, and is just doing this a few days a month on the side. So the beauty of it is for them is they're not having to choose between one or the other. They can do this, start it out as a part-time thing, and in many of them will keep it that way. But it gives them options. It allows them to develop a secondary income stream, a passive income stream on the side that provides additional income, added security for their family. It also gives an environment where they can spend time with their families, especially their kids, learning and teaching entrepreneurship along the way to them. One of the biggest reasons why we got started in business was we wanted our 3 kids to be in an entrepreneurial household so that they could learn and hopefully be that much further ahead when they got out on their own than we were. Because I didn't start business until my late 20s. I didn't start SSV until I was 40. I'm 50 now. So, to give them a leg up and to get them started that much earlier, not just for my kids, but the kids of many of our franchisees on the team, it is a really, really, really big deal and a major part of what we do. It's all about teaching multi-generational entrepreneurship, not just teaching mom and dad.
I love that because that's a lot what this show's about, is creating a legacy for your family and for your children and for your children's children. And you're truly empowering them through the education and an opportunity. And that's extremely, extremely powerful stuff.
We've enjoyed doing it, and the fruit is on the tree. Just to give you an idea, my son Zane, who when we started SSV was 10, he turns 21 in a couple of months here shortly. He was our very first graphic designer at 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
Because I hired some graphic designers initially, found out how expensive it was to hire them, and decided we're going to get the Adobe suite. We're going to get an iMac, and Zane ended up trading a couple hours worth of work in the yard mowing the lawn for a good buddy of mine who was a Hollywood commercial editor and graphic designer by training, in exchange for some training in Photoshop and Illustrator. And Zane was able to leverage that initial training. We got him some more self-paced study along the way through a series of books and DVD series and all that. But then he set out starting to work in our business as a designer. Today, he's literally done thousands of design jobs. He's worked with hundreds of clients. He does web design and app design today as well. In fact, about 6 months ago, the public affairs office at his college where he goes to school saw a bunch of his work around campus and called him into the office and said, "Hey, where did you learn how to do all this stuff?" And he went on to tell him about how he had worked in his dad's business since 10. They hired him on the spot. So now he's doing a lot of the marketing for the entire university as a junior in college. And all of that skill he learned initially starting out at 10 years old, working for mom and dad's company.
It's amazing. And that's the thing about the world that we live in now and the information age. It's all about skill sets and providing value for others and becoming of value for others. You know, degrees and paper and all those things that goes on the wall doesn't really mean anything unless you've become a more valuable asset and of value of other people through that education as well. So that's so powerful, Matt, what you guys are doing and paying it forward, empowering not only your own children, but your franchisees' children and so forth. Now, for my listeners that are interested in something like this to start as a side hustle and so forth, what are some of the startup costs? How do they get started in this?
Just to give you an idea, MC, today in the U.S., the average franchise costs about $150,000 to get started. Well, I don't know about your listeners, but that was 150,000 reasons why I didn't own a franchise. We're very, very inexpensive, comparatively speaking. Startup is just shy of $20,000 U.S. To get started. About half of that is franchise fee. There's a mentorship program that's for 6 months that's involved in that as well. And then the rest is equipment and product and all that stuff to actually get started with their first 5 schools. So very, very inexpensive, comparatively speaking. From there, we host training here in Texas where they come out for a couple of days and learn and get educated here. And then we send their mentor with them to their area of the country for several days to help them get things up and running to begin with. Pretty inexpensive when it's all said and done. And we've had, just since we started franchising, 65 or 66 folks get involved in the last year and a half or so. So it's been crazy. The number of people that have heard our message, who've wanted to start a part-time business but didn't know how, or who wanted to start a business and had their family involved, or who are looking to make passive income with a proven business entity already instead of trying to figure it all out. We've had thousands of people reach out in that period of time, and it's just been crazy to see the response we've gotten to what we're doing.
No, and I'm not surprised. This is a fantastic journey that you're on, and a path that you're walking with all of your franchisees. So for the people that are interested, I mean, they're thinking about relationships with the schools, so it's the schools to get in. And again, this you're providing value to the school as well. And you've spoke about fundraising for the school. Can you talk a little bit about that side of this business as well?
Most schools are lacking either funds or volunteers, and in many cases they're lacking both. And one of the benefits of our program is, since our franchisees literally do all the work, all the schools have to do is cash a check. So it ends up being a win-win. They give us permission to do business there, and then we come in, provide the equipment and all that at no cost to the school. And once they understand it, they're ecstatic about it, because everything else that they do fundraising wise requires tons of volunteers. It requires them mobilizing all the parents, the kids, faculty in the school in order to make them work. And with our program, we take care of all those details. So it ends up being a win-win. And, it just happens to be that the niche that we have come across, once people understand it, the thing spreads like wildfire.
Now, we've touched on skill sets and skills a little bit earlier, and one habit I've observed from wealthy and successful people is that they're always studying new subjects and learning new skill sets. Matt, what are you currently studying, and what skill sets are you currently learning?
It's funny, MC. I am deep in the middle of a couple of subjects right now. One is online courses, and the other is, essentially funnels. In fact, I'm about to launch my first online course to complement what we're doing in the vending space here in the next week, and really, really excited about that. So a lot of my focus and time over the last month and a half or so has been 100% on that and on funnels, because so much of what I've done in the past has been more traditional, not as much online. And now that we have the foundation traditionally, there's a lot of people out there that want the information and want to learn the information that we've learned over the last 13 years or so. And it gives me the opportunity to help them as well if for some reason the franchise isn't a fit for them.
Gotcha. And tell me a little bit about the course. Where, for my listeners, where is there a web page that's available for that?
Yeah, the course, by the time this goes live, will be available at vendingsecrets.com, or excuse me, vendingsecrets.net. Vendingsecrets.net. The course is called Vending Secrets to Passive Income, and I talk in the course about the ins and outs of vending, the different types of vending, kind of give some guidance and direction on product, types of equipment, types of locations, finding locations that are under the radar and that most other people out there probably aren't considering, and really give them an insider perspective after 13 years to where they've got a very short path between points A and B, utilizing the course, whereas me, it took years and years to figure this stuff out.
I would highly recommend anyone check that out, and can't wait to check it out myself. No matter, core message in our show is to leave our families, communities, and the world better than we found it by passing down a mindset, values, and principles to future generations, not just money. So if you cannot pass on any money to future generations, and we're only allowed to pass on 3 principles to them to build wealth and achieve happiness and success, what would they be?
The first one, I'm sure most of your guests have talked about, MC, but it is pure hard work. Even though I'm an entrepreneur, and even though I've worked for myself now for 6.5 years, I work just as hard today as I ever have. The difference is I do it when I want and how I want, because I'm not being told what to do by anybody else. And if I want to take the next month off, I could, because I own a business that is pretty passive in nature. But, Malcolm Gladwell talks in his book Outliers about working 10,000 hours to become great at anything. And I'm no exception to that. We put a lot of time in over the last 13 years to have this quote unquote overnight success that most people see. So that would be number one. I think number two would be, you have to be willing to fail. In our society today, in school and everything, we're taught that failure is bad. That could not be further from the truth, as long as you're learning from that failure. And the reason why, or one of the reasons why we've had the success that we've had, is I've been all right with failure and have failed more than most, but I've gotten back up and made corrections and adjustments along the way to where that failure has helped us and helped propel us forward. in our businesses that we run today. And then finally is persistence. Success is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And you've got to be in it for the long haul. You have to be willing to stay focused and work longer and harder than anybody around you. Most will quit in very short order, but by commitment and playing the long game instead of the short game, the sky's the limit, because there are so few people in that portion of the race that stick with it long enough to see the ultimate success that we're all striving for.
Matt, how can my audience learn more about you, your company, the franchising opportunity, and stay informed of all the projects that you're involved with?
MC, I wrote a short ebook here several years ago called Live Your Dreams, the 10 Reasons Why You Need to Own a Vending Business. And your audience can download that for free at ssvbusiness.com/cashflowninja. And then, like I mentioned earlier, if they're not interested in the franchise side of things, but are interested in vending itself, they can go to vendingsecrets.net and check out my course. And, we can teach them utilizing that as well if that's more along the lines of what they're looking for.
Awesome. Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your journey and your knowledge and providing so much value for my listeners around this very, very interesting and exciting topic and business.
Yeah, MC, thanks a lot for having me on, and God bless you, man.
This is MC Laubscher, the host of the Cashflow Ninja podcast. As you may know, I'm also the president and chief wealth strategist of Valhalla Wealth Financial. We help individuals, families, small businesses, entrepreneurs, and professionals build their wealth outside of Wall Street and help investors maximize the use of every dollar in their personal economy and boost their investment gains. We do this by combining the capital and investments with the financial vehicle of the wealthy according to the infinite banking concept. If you're interested to learn more about privatized banking and the infinite banking concept, you can access an exclusive webinar at cashflowninja.com/be the bank. Thank you for joining my guest, Matt Miller, and myself on the Cashflow Ninja today. If you like what you hear and appreciate what we're trying to build here at the Cashflow Ninja, please subscribe, rate, and review our show on iTunes and share our show with family, friends, in your network. I'm always trying to learn and improve in every area of my life, so if there's any way that I can provide more value for you and serve you better, please reach out to me at info@cashflowninja.com. If you're not a subscriber to the Cashflow Ninja Gashku newsletter, you can sign up for our newsletter at cashflowninja.com or text Cashflow Ninja to 44222. You can also support the show by becoming a patron on Patreon for $10 a month. And when you do become a patron, you get access to our private Facebook page and that awesome Cashflow Ninja t-shirt. You can become a patron at cashflowninja.com/support. Geld Inc. is a multifamily owner which has acquired over 6,700 apartment units valued at over $1 billion through a private equity syndication model. Banking on the renter revolution amongst millennials and baby boomers, all-time low home ownership rates, and a major shortage of well-located apartments at affordable price points, Geld has provided its investors with consistent cash-on-cash returns while maintaining and enhancing equity invested for the long term. For more information on how to achieve sustainable yield for the long term, you can email Josh Satin at josh@geldinc.com. Smart investors know that the banks actually don't own most automatic teller machines. In fact, the opportunity for private investment provides stellar passive returns, figures in the double digits, with the added bonus that most of the income is tax-free. Who wants to walk blindly past an ATM and not cash in on that opportunity? ATM machine ownership brings you a steady stream of hands-off passive income. Dave Zook and the Real Asset Investor team have been providing opportunities for investors in this uptrending activity of ATM use. If you're an accredited investor and would like more information on how you can invest in this exclusive asset class, that very few investors will ever have access to, sign up for your free webinar on how to create income streams from ATMs at cashflowninja.com/real asset investor. Jimmy Freeland and Bob Scott have been in your shoes and have used real estate investing to become financially free. They have designed a system to take any beginner to an experienced deal-making investor in the least amount of time. They offer opportunities from basic education, coaching, bridge loan investing, to turnkey investments in the cash-flowing market of St. Louis, Missouri. For more information, please visit joinupsproperties.com or call Jimmy and Bob at 314-799-2247. If you want to create an income stream of 8% on your cash or money in your self-directed IRA within 90 days in real estate without finding the property, fixing it up, finding a tenant, and all the other management headaches that comes along with it, you have to watch the private lending presentation at cashflowninja.com/private lending. The wealthiest investors on the planet know how to capture their wealth and leverage it to perpetually grow it. If you're interested in learning in the premier strategies of the wealthiest individuals and families on the planet, you can access your free webinar at cashflowninja.com/be the bank. That's our show for today, everyone. Until next time, live a life of passion and purpose on your terms.
You have been listening to the Cash Flow Ninja with your host, MC Laubscher, the podcast empowering and inspiring people to discover how to generate their own income and manage, grow, and protect their own wealth in the new economy. Today's show notes and resources are available on our website, cashflowninja.com. This presentation is for educational and informational purposes only. The information being presented and considered does not consider your particular financial objectives or situation, and it does not make personalized recommendations. This material is not intended to replace the advice of a qualified tax and legal advisor or other qualified professionals, and you should not use the information in place of a customized consultation with a licensed professional regarding your specific personal financial objective, situation, and needs. We believe the information provided is reliable, but we do not guarantee its accuracy, timeliness, or completeness.